It's time to give your job a completely new job.
Hey, Creating Maven. I'm Joy Spencer, your Reframe specialist, with one important message. Your real work, it's not your job or your career. Your real work is what you create. And what you create is what sets you apart and makes you incomparable. It's your legacy. I'm here to show you a whole new way of working so you can create with your gifts, make a unique contribution, and finally get paid to be yourself. This is Reframe to Create.
My business accountability partner and I have a nickname for our jobs. We call it Bruno. And as much as possible, we don't talk about Bruno, no. No, we don't talk about Bruno. Yes, we stole it from the Disney movie Encanto. And I think it perfectly illustrates how we want to reframe our relationship with jobs going forward. Because we are like 100% committed and focused on building our businesses. And we have a very specific role for our Brunos. It's not that we don't talk about Bruno ever. It's just that we use this turn of phrase to put Bruno in his proper place, to put our jobs in their proper place, because we're business accountability partners, right? We meet to hold each other accountable for the time, energy, and resources we're committing to investing in our own brands, creating with our gifts, doing our own things. So when we noticed that a lot of that time that we'd set aside specifically for this was getting taken up with conversations, debriefing, belly aching about what was happening or not happening in Bruno land, we knew it had to stop if we were going to make any kind of headway on the life that we want. Hence the Bruno name, and not talking about him as a reminder that we are not about that life anymore. We are about the mission of creating with our gifts. We are about investing in our own thing as a priority and as much as possible. So what does this mean for Bruno? It means we have a complete reframe on jobs. It's what I've been nudging you towards here at Reframe to Create, and touched on it in episode 32 with Samuel Sarafel, why you should work your way out of a job, and some more when Carol Hamilton stopped by in episode 68 to talk about why we don't need to love our jobs. But now it's time to just push you right on over the edge, right? Not just nudge you. This is the big reorientation you need to get if you're going to be a full-fledged creating maven. It's time to really be mission-minded instead of job-focused. It's time to be about the mission of creating with your gifts and offering them in service wherever and whenever you choose to do so. It's time to think about the big problem out there that you want to be a part of helping to make better or to resolve, and how you can bring your gifts to bear in service to that, whether that service is paid or free. Wherever you are, wherever you go, ask yourself, what do I create? What do I create and offer in service that makes the life of at least one other person better? And it's time to think about that level. It's time to think at that level and stop getting sucked into your current job and its current episode of drama. You know what I'm talking about. So be real. Right now in your day and at your job, are you focused on your mission? Do you even know your mission? Do you know what you're there to create? Do you know your before and after story? The story that says, before I showed up in this place, this thing, didn't exist or doesn't exist or typically does not exist. But after I've left, this thing is what will be there because this is what I create wherever I go. Do you know what that story is? That's what your mission lived out should be. That's the story you should be able to tell because you know what it will be even before you walk into any given job, because you've done it before. It should help you know when your mission is complete in any given job as well, when it's time to move on or to grow to something else. That's what your focus should be. If you're going to make a unique contribution and leave a legacy you're proud of, this is how you need to be thinking. So are you focused on knowing, being, and working in this way? Or are you getting sucked in and distracted by whatever's going on in Bruno land? If not, it's time to get your eyes back on the prize and away from everything that's distracting you from this. These are the reframes you need. 1, your job will no longer be the central organizing or identity feature of your life. To those of you who've always lived at this address that I'm talking about, this address of not centralizing your jobs, my hat's off to you, like big kudos. But for the rest of us who really drank that Kool-Aid of what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to do after college? What do you do with your job? For us, this is new. This means giving up on those ladders. It means no longer feeling the need to prove your worth through the lens of a career or a job. That's not the defining feature or focus for you. So you might ask, okay, if that's not it, if that's gone, what is it? Well, it's the mission of creating with your gifts, the mission of making some sort of change or impact in the world through what it is that you create. And this has to change your priority. You don't need to think about your job first in order to do your job well. I think that's something that people are often afraid of. And that's like one of the biggest lies that's lodged in people's heads. They think that in order to be doing good or right by your job, you need to be thinking about it constantly and you need to think about it first. It needs to be a priority. You need to wake up in the morning, check your email and just be all about it and, brainstorming about it. You have to check your emails. You have to wonder about it when you're not there. And really, no, you don't. You actually shouldn't. You can still do justice by your job and not make it a priority, not make it the thing that you're thinking about first constantly and often. Now, let me say there are plenty of books and approaches that will help you to centralize and put your job first. And if you're looking for how you can be successful at your job and how you can climb the ladder and rise through the ranks by centralizing your job, I am not the one for you. Reframe to Create is not for this. This is for those of you who don't just want to do something different, but you want to be different. You want to feel different in the skin of your life and how you work. You want to think at the level of your mission and you want to think through the lens of what it is that you create. You know how I want to feel? I want to feel like I have the emotional freedom to live my life first, to take care of my health, my relationships, and what I create in that order, and to do so without feeling guilty or like I'm a failure. This is success to me. This is living purposefully and intentionally with the things that are central and making those first things first. In episode 10, Your Work is Not the Center, I talked about this with the priority investment circle. And it was a way of thinking about what's most important first. And if you're waiting for permission from your job, you're still looking in the wrong place. It needs to stop being and never again be center stage in your life and in your mind if you're going to be able to do what it is that you need to do and be about what you need to be about as a creating maven. So what am I saying? What role does a Bruno play in the life of a creating maven in your life? Well, that is the second reframe. 2, your job will now be known as your sponsor. I know a few people like this. Actually, I know quite a few people like this in entrepreneurial circles that I run in. And they live this way and in such a way that it was years had gone by before I realized that they actually even had a job, like an employer, in addition to running their business. And I was like, what? But yeah, what? I mean, why not? Why not collect all the coins from all the places? And why not gain all the experiences and networks that you can? For these people, their jobs serve not just as financial sources and funders of their creating ventures, but as ongoing learning opportunities to collaborate with team members and just to continue to grow. It serves like lots of purposes, lots of valuable good stuff. They get lots of valuable and good stuff out of their jobs without making the job the center. The job becomes the support for what is the center for them, which is their side hustle or their business. And this is not about a time thing. This is about a mental focus thing and an energy thing, where you're putting your energy, where you're putting your focus, what you're allowing to take up your mental space, what you're allowing to distract you or not distract you. It's more about that. So that's what giving your job the role of being your sponsor that supports your plan A means. In this view, your job is here to help you fulfill your mission and to support the life that you want to live. It's not your life. It's not the place you go to for fulfillment. It's where you go to fulfill some, but not all of what you're here to do. And let's be real. Sometimes you'll be in a job that doesn't afford you the place to fulfill your mission, and that's fine. Let it just be your sponsor. Let it be your sponsor while you fulfill your mission elsewhere. You're already doing this. If you have a 401k, you're using your job for a future investment, your retirement. I'm saying it shouldn't be the only future investment you're using your job for. You should also use your job for your future investment in the thing you're creating with your gifts that is your own and that you have full control over, and that all the money and the opportunities that you'll be able to make from it will be yours. So this is what you should stop doing. Stop working mindlessly and advancing mindlessly at your job. Just working. Working at it and expecting that you're always going to want to do this work or to work at all. You should be working every single day, assuming that your job is going to end in one of three ways: retirement, switching it up, going to another job, or getting let go. Either way, like whatever the way is, it's going to end, and you should be building your next right now, not on the final day, whatever that final day is. So you should mentally be preparing, and even financially preparing, but really mentally preparing long before this transition point. For the time that you're in your job, you want to treat it as a sponsor helping you to build your plan A. And everyone has a different plan A. For some, their plan A is, all the rental properties they're trying to amass through the sponsorship of their job. Others are investing in their brand and working on their mission so that they can have a marketable gift that liberates their work and takes them beyond 9-to-5 employment. Others always want to have a buffer and an additional cushion to their 9-to-5. Whatever they're doing, they're not putting all of their financial, mental, emotional, and energy eggs into one basket. So I ask you, are you? Do you see what this reframe does to how you look at and treat Bruno? Do you have time for the drama in this scenario? Do you care about half the things that you care about right now? Do you notice those supposed slights? Do you care as much if you're liked or highly esteemed? Is Bruno what you're focused on, or your mission? Now, I'm not saying this is easy, and I'm not a heartless monster. I'm not saying that you need to hate Bruno and do your best to be a total jerk in it and just do terrible work. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's possible to make progress on this journey by simply redirecting your attention. This is about where you are putting your intense attention and energy, because the price of not doing this is very high, too high. If you don't do this now, when the switch up eventually happens, whatever that switch up is, and the ground moves under your feet, you'll find yourself unprepared, shocked, dejected, confused, and maybe even lost. And I don't want that for you. But if you do this, what I'm encouraging you to do, then you'll be prepared and you'll have something to show for all the time that you've been at the job. And that thing to show for will be something of your own that you own. It'll be something that's portable and that makes you portable. It'll be something that you can truly take with you. And when you know how to tell the story of what you create and tell it powerfully, wow, you'll be unstoppable. So what now? What can you do to keep yourself focused on minding and building your own business and not getting distracted by Bruno? Well, I've got a question for you. Do you have an accountability partner? Someone who's with you on this creating journey and just as committed as you are. Someone who you check in with and who checks in with you to see how you're doing with creating on a regular basis and staying focused. No? You don't have one? Well, that's your assignment to complete before we get back together next time here at Reframe to Create. Think about someone who you respect and who might be interested in committing to this journey of creating with your gifts and getting paid for it and committing consistently. And when you pick someone, invite them to be your accountability partner and share this episode with them. Then pick a day and a time of the week that you'll meet for at least 30 minutes for your check-ins. This will be your time to debrief not only your learning from this podcast, but the action steps you're taking, and use it as a way to support each other in getting back on track when you fall off track. Having an accountability partner is a game changer. I've seen it work with leaders who I work with to help speed up their progress. And as you know, I have an accountability partner and it's made all the difference for me. And I know that it will for you as well. So get to looking for your accountability partner, set up your weekly meeting, and be ready to meet me back here with them at the next Reframe to Create episode. And here's the first question for you to chew on together. During this past week, how much time did you spend creating? Ask that question and then discuss. See you soon, Creating Maven. Until then, remember to always ask yourself, what will I create?